Okay, TDM owners, it's me again. Just a quick update on the joys of TDM ownership. So we're going on another little ride. Not put anything on the channel for a while. I'm only putting things on that are really relevant. I'm not that bothered about putting loads of stuff on. But I thought there was something cropped up recently that was worth sharing. So I'm going on a little jaunt back home to Leicester, and I'll have a little chat as we go along. Got some nice roads I'm going to take. You can have a little look at how the bike's going. So the update, just over 44,000 miles now. So I've been on this bike just over 3 years, and I've put on it 23,000 miles. And I've got to say, I think we all know this if you're watching this channel about TDMs, is they are a massively underrated all-round motorbike. Really don't think people give them a try and just see what they've got to offer. But like every motorbike, they've got their, their little idiosyncrasies and the bits that you've got to be aware of. I've spoke about that a lot on some of the other videos, so I'm just going to pick up on things that I've found out recently. So the snatchy throttle that people talk about, yeah, they can have a snatchy throttle, and we've all spoken about the airbox mod. But what I'm doing now is 32 miles an hour in 4th gear, and it is completely comfortable. I've just gone up to 34. I'm in a 40 limit, so I can go up to 40. So it's completely comfortable with no jerking, no snatching, no lumpy. So I think a lot of it has to do with the way you're riding the bike and the way you feel when you're riding the bike. I know when I'm having days where I feel tense or a little bit pissed off, and I'm not as relaxed than I normally am. So I'm still in 4th gear, 32 miles an hour, 2,500 RPM, no problems at all. But I'm having a really good day today. I'm relaxed. My arms and shoulders and hands are completely relaxed. But I have noticed when I'm riding and there's a bit of tension there for whatever reason, the throttle gets snatchier. And I've kind of come to the idea that it's actually me and not the bike. So if I'm having a good day and I'm riding pretty well, pretty relaxed, the bike is responding to that and it's quite happy to just mooch along. I've got no tight death grip on the throttle, and like again, 2,000 RPM, ticking along. My mates have got GSs and RTs. They cannot be in anything other than 2nd or 3rd gear at 30 miles an hour. I'm at just over 2,000 RPM in 3rd gear, 22 miles an hour, and my shoulders and everything are completely relaxed. I've got no sort of twitchy, snatchy throttle at all. So my advice, set the bike up for you and make sure that your arms aren't too stretched out because the handlebars are too far forward. Make sure you use adjustable levers so you can set the levers to your hand span. Suspension settings are also part of that. If your suspension's too hard and you're bouncing and it's really jerky, then it's going to make tension in your arms and shoulders potentially, which may then make the throttle a bit snatchy. So it's all realistically about being as relaxed as you possibly can be on the bike. My handlebars are the Renthal ones. I've got them quite a long way back because my arms aren't massively long. So I'm quite a long way back, closer to me. I've not put risers on. I've not found the need for those just yet. But at the moment, I can relax my my arms. The elbows can be basically bent. That enables me to stay relaxed in the shoulders and everything. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 25 miles an hour, fourth. 27 miles an hour, fourth gear. No problems at all. I've done the airbox mod, we all know that. I've seen it on some of the other videos. Okay, so just consider the way your bike is set up. My suspension is set up for my weight. I do the full rider sag setup with the cable ties on the forks, make sure that I'm using 30% of the suspension travel for my body weight and whatever I'm wearing and whatever I'm carrying. That gives a good 70% left of the suspension travel to deal with all the bumps. Now, if you've got your rider sag set really firm, which basically means you're tightening the suspension up a lot tighter than it needs to be for your weight and the way obviously that you ride, you've got less suspension travel to take up all the bumps. Hence the bike feels more bouncy, it feels a little bit more uncomfortable, and you might be tensing up and causing the throttles to snatch. So I'm not going to harp on about it. Give it a go if you still think the throttles are a bit snatchy, because I'm finding that they're not, and it's worth looking at. The rest of the ride, realistically, while we're doing all these slow speeds, I'll chat to you, and then the rest of the ride I'm just going to have a little bit of a play, and you can enjoy the scenery if you want to watch the video any longer. So 44,000 miles. Recently I had to do some fork seals. They started leaking at about 42,000. They were the original fork seals, which I thought was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good for the original fork seals. And so I've got new oil. I kept the springs, I measured the springs, they've not lost any sort of, so they're 42,000 mile springs, and I thought, well, surely they've not got the springiness left, but I looked at the manual and measured what they were meant to be. They're still at the upper range, which means they've not really started to sag much at all. So I've saved myself a couple £100 banging some progressive fork springs in that I really didn't need to. Doing it yourself, if you do the fork seals yourself, there's a couple of things to be aware of. On the older TDMs, they use a bush at the bottom of the fork that locks the damping system into the bottom of the fork. It's a yellow plastic collar. It's a pig. They apparently updated that to a metal collar, but once you know how to do that, then it's not too difficult to do the fork seals. Other than the fork seals, I've just put oil and filters in it now and again. So for 25,000 miles, like I've mentioned on some of the videos, the batteries, well, this battery's been pretty good. 25,000 miles, it cost me £2,500 to buy, and it's cost me very little. It works every day because I'm a part-time motorcycle instructor, so it has to work for its living, and it does that very well. So that's my update. Not really a lot to say really, I just ride it, enjoy it still. I am looking for something new, but like I said, it's got to be something really special for me to bother changing this. And because I'm enjoying it, I put this little flip up screen on it. That's really good at just taking a little bit more of the wind noise away from my helmet. Other than that, doesn't do. I've got one of the touring screens anyway, which seems to work really well. So now I've got my full face up, and I can go up to about 60 miles an hour with this little flip. The wind's going to get a little bit noisier, but I don't feel an awful lot on my face, which is really nice. So yeah, it's a nice little addition if you want to do some long distance touring. The wife's talking about going on some tours later on in the year, so I bought a couple of those sheepskin covers that people talk about, and I'm going to give those a try. But all in all, it's pretty damn good. So if you're owning one of these, you probably know this already, but just the little things I'm finding out when I'm riding, if it's any use to you, probably worth giving it a go. Other than that, unless I scream because I'm doing things that are a little bit scary. At the 30 mile an hour limit down there, I'm just wondering whether to go. No, I'll stay here. I won't waste the fuel. I'll wait till I get out of the other side of this village. And I'm going to ride for about 25 minutes, which is as long as my... I've got 28 minute sort of capture things on this Ghost video cam. So after 28 minutes, it just stops and goes on to another section of 28 minutes. It's a bit crazy, but I can't work out how to change it. So I'm going to ride for about 25 minutes and enjoy the views if you want to stay with the video. Oh, I think one of my last videos, last riding videos, was to do with the taking the advanced motorcycle test. Yeah, we got through that. That was all right. So, like I say, again, if you want to do that, it is worth doing. What I found, obviously, you've got to stick to speed limits, but what I found it does teach you is far better observations, far better scanning ahead and knowing what's happening and what you're approaching. You may see when I'm riding that I'm approaching situations, my head is moving, scanning things a lot more than I used to ride. So I think it's a good course. I did mine with the IAM in Leicester, and thoroughly enjoyed it. You learn an awful lot off the observers. They're generally experienced riders who've passed the course, and they train to be observers, and they just give you tips. It's not in any way onerous. They take you out for rides, give you tips on how you can improve either your positioning or your scanning or your observations. And there's nothing wrong with constantly improving your riding. Nothing wrong with it at all. We also did the Biker Down course last night. So that's a course run by the fire service, which is my old occupation, and they run it in most brigades or most services. They'll run a Biker Down course. So I did mine with Leicestershire, and it's really just talking about if you're on the scene of a motorcycle accident. So if you're out with mates and one of your mates ditches the bike, it tells you basically how to scene management and trauma care, take helmets off safely. It's a nice course. So I highly recommend that if you ever thought, what would I do if I actually had an accident, or I came across a motorbike accident? What would I actually need to do, and how would I make it safe? Well, they've thought about that, and they teach you all about it. So Biker Down, if you fancy it, just Google Biker Down and have a look, see what you think. Not sure how quick this car is going to be, but there's enough room there. Just going to do a little stretch along the A50. Other than that, so shoulder checks, vitally important when you're doing this sort of stuff. So checking into the blind spot. A lot of motorbikers forget to do it, hence nearly 40% of motorbike accidents involve people not doing the correct observations and twatting themselves into people. Ugh, fly there. I wonder if I can get around that. No, don't think I can. But I really do love this bike. Some people have commented on the videos that I post saying, God, it sounds so quiet and smooth. It is quiet and smooth. It really is. I don't put any of those loud exhausts on. I like the fact that it's got catalytic converters in the exhaust, and I'm going to use that to try and limit my impact on the planet. And makes it quiet and smooth. How the bike was built by Yamaha. You know, I could probably make another 5 brake horsepower, but realistically on the road it doesn't make a massive amount of difference in my book. I've got mates who ride all sorts of bikes and I absolutely have no problems keeping up with them. None whatsoever. Apart from one nutter. He's a nutter. So, and I don't want to be a nutter, so I don't do that. Now I need this guy to move his ass. Not quite sure what he was waiting for. This is a nice little corner for bending the bike over. Although I've got my suspension set quite soft at the moment because I do like a little bit of smooth suspension. But it is a really long, nice sweeping left-hander. I really love it. Although it's a 50-mile-an-hour limit, which unfortunately doesn't help. So before you know it, you're hitting 90 miles an hour without even trying. I don't want to go too far. You're probably going to find out that this is not going to be advanced standard because I am not sticking to speed limits today. I'm just going to have a little play. However, I'm not going nuts, so I'm just going to have a nice, what we call in the trade, making progress ride. That's a shame. They seem to be a little bit of a Sunday driver, and they're going down where I'm going. A bit tight this road as well in places, so we're going to have to see if I get the opportunity. Now, for a 17-year-old bike with 17-year-old suspension, original shock, still the original springs, fucking copes very well on these sort of really bouncy roads. Can't see a lot what's around these corners though, so can't go too bonkers. There's a buzzard up in the air there, so always worth slowing down and looking at a bit of nature. Hello mate. Wow, that's a good view. Awesome. No point being out here and not seeing some of the beautiful sights you can see. Just in case they're blocking the road there. Again, nothing wrong with promoting a bit of courteous motorcycling. Oh, can't really see that. Here, Belton. Some nice houses around here. There's a big bump there. And like everybody who's ridden one of these, the front brakes are pretty damn awesome. Think bike, most definitely. So 50 mile an hour limit. I'm coming off this bit. I'm approaching a 40, so I don't think there's any point. So let's get her back. So I'm in a 40 limit now, so I'm in fifth gear at 38 miles an hour. Now, it's not going to, well, it does pull actually, it pulls okay. It's obviously when you talk about bikes pulling from low gears, they go, oh yeah, but these TDMs don't pull from low. Yeah, it does. It doesn't like it, but it'll pull. But if you want to just be a little bit more relaxed when you ride it, then, oh, sorry mate, 40, I'm doing 40, why it says 40? It's not where I want to turn, is it? Further down. Oh, I think that is where I want to turn, so. Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, go a different way. See where this takes us. Never been down this road, so I'm just going to go down this road. Grey Stew and Thringston, why not? That's the thing with summer bushes, you can't really get a lot of visibility ahead. Slow down. Oh, 512. Oh, that's all right. This is okay.